Welcome to the GenX Pole Arts podcast, Fit, Fierce, and Fearless. I am Zen, also known as Nancy Adzentoivich, the founder of GenX Pole Arts. I am happy to be launching this podcast where we are going to be celebrating the strength, resilience, and potential of women over 40 in the vibrant world of pole dance. I'm excited to embark on this empowering journey with you guys. And each week, we will connect with inspiring women who are redefining what it means to thrive in their 40s and beyond. From incredible stories of personal transformation to tips on building strength and confidence, we'll explore the boundless possibilities that pole dancing offers for self-expression and empowerment. Whether you're a seasoned dancer or just curious about the journey, there's a place for you here. So grab a cup of coffee, a sparkling water, whatever turns you on, and get comfortable. Let's celebrate the incredible power of women who are embracing their passions and pushing boundaries at every age. All right, now let's dive into today's episode. Welcome to the Fit, Fierce, and Fearless podcast, episode 35. I am Zen. You guys know me. And as promised, today I have another amazing guest. I have Susan joining me. Thank you. We both are busy moms, and so scheduling is always a challenge, but I appreciate you finding the time to do this. You guys, Susan is a teacher, and I have met her through my training and practice. I love going to your classes. She really has amazing music that I like because it's kind of like 90s or new wave, and I don't know. It's fun. We have fun in class. And Susan first came to my attention on Instagram, actually, before I took your class, when I saw you polling pregnant. And I was like, who is this amazing goddess who is graceful, flowing, and from the back, there, it was like you couldn't even tell. Then you come around the pole, and then there's a belly. And I was like, oh my God, this beautiful woman. So that's kind of, I guess, what caught my attention first before I actually met you in real life. So welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I didn't know that. I didn't know that you had seen my Instagram before class, but that's
Yeah. I know you're kind of famous amongst polling moms.
Thanks. I mean, every class, I don't mean to, but being a mom or being pregnant and polling, like it just comes out because it's just such a huge part of my pole journey. So it's like, I love teaching other moms and like polling with other moms. So it's like, it's a good kind of bonding point, I feel like. So
Absolutely. Yeah. So I don't really know much about your pole journey. So I would love it if you could talk a little bit about like when you started, why you started, how you started.
Mm-hmm. So I started I think it was January 2016, and I was also a pastry chef at the time. So I was
Ooh.
working in restaurants. I was living in New York. So this was in New York, all in New York. And, my husband and I were planning to try to starting a family. And I had zero like workout fitness part of my routine at all. I did like yoga sporadically here and there, and I hate running. I hate gyms. I've tried those things in the past, and nothing could ever stick. So I was like, I need to find something that I can do, that I can stick with, that's gonna help me get healthy and fit before I have a baby and everything goes haywire. Because I had never been pregnant. I just expected the worst basically. So yeah, I had gone to a strip club, I think the year before that, just with some friends. And it's like, I've only been to one strip club in my whole life, and it was just changed my whole trajectory of my life, basically.
Amazing.
It was just watching the dancers. I was in awe. And I think it was Pumps in Brooklyn. And yeah, I was just like, wow, that looks so fun and so incredible. And then it went out of my head. I never even thought about it again until a year later when I was like, I wonder if there's such a thing as pole dancing lessons. And I just Googled it. I found Body and Pole in New York. Yeah, and I signed up for a class. I have no dance background. I took gymnastics for maybe like a year or two when I was like 5 or something. That was like the extent of that. And so I walk into Body and Pole in New York, and it just looks like this freaking real dance academy. There's like girls just doing the splits, like, stretching needle, whatever that
Yeah.
pose is called, like in the middle of the hallway. And I was just like, what the fuck am I doing here? Like, this is, I do not belong here. I can barely touch my toes. But I did it, and it was instant, love, as many people I feel like have.
Yeah.
I was totally into it. First I actually took an aerial class there first. I took aerial silks first as a like to get my toes wet, and I was like, this is really hard, and maybe this is not for me. And then I,
Yeah.
jumped in and took pole, and yeah, pole was the one. And yeah, and then from there I started taking classes there, and then I was living in Greenpoint, and I actually discovered that Incredipole in Brooklyn
Mm.
literally across the street from my apartment. Like, I walked by every single day, and like they had a little sandwich board, and it said Incredipole in cute like chalk writing, and I never even looked at it. And then after maybe a month or two of going to Body and Pole, I noticed their sign, and I was like, Incredipole? It's like Incredipole. Could that be pole dancing? And I just like went home and Googled Incredipole, and that was yeah, it was, and so that became my new pole home. And then I found Sadie's when I came to visit my family who lived in the South Bay, and so Incredipole and Sadie's were my two home pole studios. Am I blabbering too much right now?
No, this is perfect. I love it.
And then yeah, and then it took a while to conceive. So I conceived my first, or I had my first baby in 2018, and I pulled, basically past my due date as far as I could go.
Wow.
And then I took 6 weeks off. I had a C-section, and immediately, as soon as I got the green light to start again, I was back on the pole. And honestly, like, it saved me so much, like
Mhm.
with my first baby, second baby, third baby, but really with the first, because it's just like you lose, or I lost so much of my like identity, which I feel like is
Right.
a common thing when you have kids.
Yes.
And so having that thing to go back to that was like mine and like not part of being a mom was like
Mhm.
super crucial. And plus on top of that, like something that would get me active and moving again and back into my body. So yeah, I'm like
Yeah.
forever grateful for pole for that, and
Yeah.
I will never stop evangelizing its benefits in like all parts of my life. So
Amazing. Yeah, no, that's a cool story. I love that you lived across the street and you didn't know it.
yeah.
But then that I could see that being dangerous and just like spending a lot of time, too much
Oh
time,
my gosh. I yeah.
for me.
Anytime I could get over there, it was literally across the street from me. It was just yeah. I mean, it was good and
That's
bad, but
cool. I lived in Brooklyn, but I moved out in 2006, early 2000s or late 2005. Yeah.
Mhm.
So when I was there, there were no pole studios. Nobody was
Yeah,
doing
yeah,
pole
yeah.
back then.
Yeah, it
But
just
yeah.
it blew up. Like
Mhm.
yeah.
Very
Uh,
cool. But I
yeah.
think what you're saying about losing your identity when you become a mom is so common because
Mhm.
you have to all of a sudden switch into this role that you don't know how to do. So it's
Mhm.
like you're just expected to know how to all of a sudden be a mom when your whole life you were just like a girl, like just doing your thing, living your best life.
And it's your
So,
whole like life, especially for the first few months. It's like there's no
yeah.
like break. You know what I mean? You can't be like, I'm just
No.
gonna take a break and not be a mom today. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
the whole thing.
It changes everything about who you are, how you live, like, and your relationship with your partner, like everything.
Yeah, for
So I
sure.
do think the fact that you went right back to pole at 6 weeks, which sounds insane to me, like, because I had C-sections also, and I'm like, 6 weeks after my C-section, I was just like walking around the block.
Oh, I
I
was
can
just like
imagine being on the pole.
I needed something. I was just like, get me
Yeah.
back in there. So
Yeah. Well, you must have been in amazing shape before. So that
thanks
helped.
to pole for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I had
Because
been
you
pulling for
kept
2 years
pulling.
before that. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's really cool. And I do think, and I obviously evangelize for it as well, which is why I have the whole podcast. But
Mhm.
not only getting back connected with your body, because you do lose that autonomy over your body when you're pregnant, because all of a sudden it becomes you're just a host to create another human, and then going
That's
through
a good
birth,
word
it's
for
like,
it too. Yeah.
yeah, like you don't have any say anymore. Your body's doing what it needs to do to make sure the baby is healthy and whatever. Um, so feeling like you can have some connection again with your body in a physical way is important. But then the community too, like I think being in the studio with other women and
Yeah.
no kids around, like
Hmm.
no expectations of you to be doing something other than exactly what you're doing, which is being
Hmm.
in your body and moving. I
Right.
think that's healing.
Definitely. And as an instructor, like that's I try to focus on that. And especially when I have a, person who's like, it's my first time, I'm just like, you are in a safe space and this is all for you. And, just like, and I think in yoga classes, they try to do the same thing. They're like, just like,
Yeah.
don't even think about it. And for the same reason that I like pole, I like yoga. It's like, whether you want to or not, if you're so focused on what your body's doing, like naturally your brain has to let go of everything else or else,
Yeah.
you can't do it. So yeah, my
Yep.
goal is just like have that space for people to like only have themselves in that room. So yeah.
I love that. I love it. That's where I got Zen pull from, because for me, it's true. Like being in the studio or on the stage are one of the only times I'm ever not in my head, because I tend to
Mhm.
be a very analytical type of person. So I overthink a lot, except if I'm
Yeah.
moving. So
Exactly.
I try to move
Mhm.
as much as I can. It's
Yeah.
like a moving meditation, right?
I mean, it's literally like I guess it's the opposite of mind over matter because it's like your body takes over, and so your brain has to like take second
Yeah.
seat. So yeah, there's just something. There's a high about it, especially like for me, spin pole is like my love. So like if you are not focusing on every single contact point of your body, then it's just like you're gonna fall. So it's like
Right.
you can't think about anything else.
Yes. It's a
So
survival, like it kicks you into survival mode, but in a good way. Like your
100%, yeah,
body, your brain and your body are working together to try to keep you safe on the
right,
pole. Yeah.
yeah,
So it's really, oh, we love it.
yeah.
I met somebody last night. I did comedy pole show.
Oh,
And after the show, I was talking to some people in the audience with a couple of other pole girls who came to see the show. And we were
mm,
talking to this woman, and she was like, oh, I took like one or two classes here or there, but I could never do what you guys do. Da, 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 da. And we, at the same time, three of us said, come to class. And we were like, oh my God, we are not a cult. I swear to God. Just
see, I didn't even
sometimes
say
feel
I'm
that
not a
way.
cult. I straight up, I'm like, okay, this is a cult, and you're joining the cult, or
Let's just be honest, like call it what it is. The cult
yeah,
of pole. So
totally.
funny. But I love your classes because of the way you conduct them, like you said. Like you make it feel very accessible, even if you're teaching things that are difficult. And
Mhm.
you're like, well, you do what you can do and take it from there. It
Yeah.
doesn't ever feel like pressure or
Mhm.
judgment. And so I really thank you for creating that space. I know I learn a lot in your classes because of that. Because I'm also, sometimes we could be afraid to fail or look stupid in
Mhm.
a class when it's something that's brand new and you're like, oh, so then you don't really even want to try.
Right.
But
And
I
that's
don't
like
feel
the
like,
hardest hurdle for me, like when I have a new person who's like, and oftentimes, sometimes they're like ready to get in there and just go, but most of the time they're very shy. They're very like, this is like kind of weird for me. And
mhm,
so finding the balance between like encouraging, but like not overstepping the boundary of like making them feel like uncomfortable or like singled out,
yeah,
and also like assessing where their skill levels at because some people like actually a lot of people they have zero upper body strength coming in and so like
mhm,
asking them to like hold onto the pole and just lift your feet off the ground is like insane for some people
yes,
for a lot of people um so that's like my favorite and also the hardest part of it is just like drawing a new person out of their shell and like seeing if they're going to blossom or
mhm,
um, and that's why I love teaching beginners because I mean I love teaching spin and tricks because that's fun and all that stuff. But I love teaching beginners because you get to see if that spark is there and like watch someone blossom like a little flower, you know?
Yeah. That's sweet. No, it's true. I'm just curious, how often do you think you see people come back versus not? Like somebody will come
Um,
the first time and then you never see them again.
yeah, I mean, and that's so disheartening, but I know people have their reasons. I would say it's actually like 50-50. Like
Mm,
I have
okay.
a lot of people that are just like one time and they're gone from my life. But actually maybe it's a little more in favor of people who come back, maybe like
Yeah.
60. But yeah, but then I do get people who like come back and they're really into it for a few months and then they vanish. And then I'm like, I hope that they went to more advanced classes and that's why they're gone and not because
Yeah.
they've given up on the journey. But yeah, I mean, I also understand that pole is not for everybody. It's not, nothing is universal, so I'm trying not to take it personally, but
Oh, no. No, I
yeah,
wouldn't take it personally. I mean, there's a lot of reasons, financial, time, work,
yeah.
schedules change, blah, blah, blah.
Or it's just
Yeah.
not their thing, and
Or it's
that's
just not
fine.
their thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
But
I was just curious because I think, and even because I teach also, um, and usually I see people come back.
mhm,
And I'm thinking of my hoop class right now, which is really like a beginner
mhm,
hoops.
mhm,
And it might be more like a 70-30 split. Like
mhm, mhm.
70% of people come back at least once or twice, before they're like, this is really harder than I thought.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's like the number one thing that I hear is they're like, this is hard. And I'm like, it is hard. And
Yeah.
I actually try to preempt them and tell them from the beginning, this is hard. So don't feel surprised if like it feels difficult for you. Or like if you're not doing what everybody else is doing, it's like everybody's at their own level. And
Yep.
yeah, and like trying to not get the students discouraged is another hard thing to do.
Yeah.
So
How do you
yeah,
think?
I always try to find a modification. I always try to
Uh-huh.
meet them where they are and try to find something that they can do, so
Hmm.
everybody can leave class feeling like they accomplished something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um,
That's
so
really important. Yeah. Let them leave feeling proud of themselves because they learned something and they surprised themselves that they were able
exactly,
to do it.
yeah.
So I think that's a great approach to give them
Hmm.
modifications that they can do.
It
Yeah.
is.
Cool. Um, so there are people who listen to the podcast who have never done pole before and are curious and, you know, as you know, I try and you guys listening know, like I encourage everybody just try it like an intro class. You don't like Susan was saying, nobody's going to ask you to go swing off of the pole in your first intro class. Like
I
we don't
might, but
expect.
I'll tell you that you don't need to. You might not accomplish it. I might ask you to try.
Yeah, because I mean, we know that people are coming into classes who maybe haven't done any exercise in years. Like you were saying when you started, like you weren't
My whole
a
life,
dance
basically.
background, you weren't an athlete, you didn't like running, blah blah blah. So, everyone has to start somewhere, and I think that's just it. Like you just need to start if you're curious, and
Right.
yeah, find a good instructor who's going to give you modifications and understand your current level of activity and strength and blah blah blah, and just go
Yeah.
from there.
I mean, one of my favorite sayings that I say all the time is, I got it from a yoga instructor, but saying that I'm not like strong enough or flexible enough or whatever enough to do pole is like saying I'm too dirty to take a bath. You know what I mean? It's like
Yes.
that's why you do this, because you need this, because you want to build your strength, because you lack flexibility, because you're not strong. That's why you start. Nobody starts lifting weights because they've got huge biceps already. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
like so we're all starting at square one, and finding our way upwards. So
Yeah. That's a
uh,
great analogy.
yeah, I love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Both of them, the muscles one and the bath one. Yeah, they're true.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So how do you find it with the kids? Like with your kids, with being a mom now that you have three, right?
Mhm.
And they're young.
Mhm.
And so I know that kind of schedule with young ones because I had three under three for a year, because I have twins,
Yeah, I
and
know. I
my twins, yeah, and my younger one's 22 months uh, younger than they are. So
remember.
I always had three very close in age.
Hmm.
And now, thankfully, they're teenagers. But when they were little, it was like I worked full time. And when I wasn't working, it was like mom, mom, mom,
Yeah.
mom.
Yeah. I go pee without like mommy
Right.
like through the door, right?
Yeah, exactly. So,
Yeah.
yeah, how do you balance it?
Well, I mean, so thank I mean, I'm very thankful for I have a lot of help. I have a nanny who watches my littlest one while my other two are at school. And most of the time I'm actually with her. I don't want to lose that time with my baby, but
Yeah.
and I don't work anymore. So, some would say that I'm very blessed in that, but it's still, momming three kids it is a juggling act. I have a pole in my
Mhm.
bedroom which doesn't get as much use as I wish it would
Sure.
because as long as I'm in the house, I'm on duty. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'll be like, okay, mommy's gonna go, practice for 30 minutes, but it's like it doesn't work because I'm not gonna lock the door on them, and if I do, they're just banging on the door. It's like
Right.
I'm not heartless, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I mean, I can practice sometimes when the little one's napping, but yeah, I mean, it's a juggle. But again, it's like it's the one thing that I have that's for myself, and so
Mhm.
I make myself do it. Even though I have a pole here, I go to Sadie's to prepare for my lessons, and I go to Sadie's to practice on my own because I need that sanctuary. I need just
Yeah.
myself in the space for a while. But yeah, so I mean, it's hard and it's also necessary,
Mhm. Yeah. And I
And,
realize I said I asked you how do you balance it, and balance is definitely not the right word because it's really not a balance. It's very
juggling maybe.
lopsided. But I can really relate to that need to get out. And even now with my kids being older, I,
Hmm.
it's like I have three teenage roommates now. Like I can't do my pole's in my living room and they've known I've done pole the whole time, but it's like I don't get that time or space to myself at home
Mhm.
to use the space as I want to. And then if I'm home, I'm doing things like cleaning, cooking, like straightening up, helping them with things. Like I'm still in that mom frame
Yeah,
of
and yeah,
mind.
mentally you can't get away from it because you're thinking about what you have to do, like the kitchen's a mess, or like I gotta
Yeah.
fold this laundry and all
I'm
that
on
stuff.
my
Yeah,
pole and I could see the sink of dirty dishes and I'm like, oh,
exactly.
I
Yeah,
should
it's just like you can't focus.
no.
That's interesting though. I wonder like how for me what it will be like because I have three boys.
Mhm.
What it will be like when they are like older, like your kids' age. Because right now it's like they don't really know what pole is. They just think mommy's exercising and doing this and that. And I wonder like when they get old enough and people start having assumptions or opinions about it.
Mhm.
They're like, oh, your mom's a pole dancer or whatever. Like, have you felt any like kind of like that sort of pressure
Um, it's
or
not
weirdness?
been an issue, honestly. So my house is the house where all the kids hang out.
Yeah.
So there's always been kids here since I don't know, middle school, I guess. And the pole wasn't here the whole time, but it's been here for like 3 or 4 years. Well, it's just been in the living room now for about a year because I moved it out of my bedroom. But my shoes have always been all over the house. And before that, I I kind of kept them in my bedroom, but there was always at least a pair in the car. So
Mhm.
when I was giving a kids rides places or carpooling, my boots would be in the car or whatever. So
Totally, I
it
have
was
the truth.
never really a secret,
Mhm.
like the other kids kind of knew, and I'm sure my kids would tell them.
Yeah.
Um, and now that they're older, like high school and college, and that poll has become much more popular and they can see it on Instagram and TikTok and everything else, I
Yeah.
think they kind of think it's cool,
Okay.
honestly.
Good to
And
hear.
I have, I don't think anyone's like, your mom's a stripper, and nothing
Yeah.
is wrong with it if I were, I'm not saying that, but I don't think I have heard a couple of girls come in the house and say, oh, you have a stripper pole. And my son said, "It's not a stripper pole." And I'm like, "It kinda is. Yeah, it is what it is." And he's like,
Same. It's the same
"Okay."
device.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think just for him thinking that his mom has a stripper pole was like
Totally.
he didn't
Yeah.
wanna think about it that way. But, but yeah, so, I they play on it too. Like my kids
Oh,
do
mine love it. Yeah.
inverts and yeah, they love
And
it. So
it's great workout for them. Like my oldest one can climb to the top now, and he's so excited about that. So, I mean, I like that they like it, but yeah, I was worried because like kids can be mean, and kids
yeah,
when they're judgmental, there's no filter; it comes out of their mouth. You know what I mean? So
right.
it's like
Oh yeah. I think because we live in Southern California, so our kids are just raised around more diverse
open,
types
yeah.
of people and cultures and blah 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 that it might not be as much of a stigma as if
Hmm.
we were someplace else. I don't know.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, because I was sort of concerned about that at first too, having my pole out or my shoes, because my
Hmm.
kids were like 11, maybe 10 and 11, 10 and 12 or something when I started, or
Hmm.
12 and 13. I don't know, something around the
Hmm.
tween years. I was
Yeah, yeah.
like, oh, is this going to be a bad influence? Is this a good influence? Like showing them that it's okay to like be connected to your body and to move and to express yourself. I'm not out there in like a thong, but
Right. Yeah.
you know.
And I think the fact that mommy does something that's healthy, and active is a good like, example for any parent. So
Very much so.
I love pole moms.
And the
Go
fact that
us.
yes, the pole moms are the best.
Yeah.
But you're also doing something that's for yourself. And I think that
Mhm.
is also a really good like example for them to grow up understanding that, oh, mommy needs to have a mommy thing, daddy needs to have
Mhm.
a daddy thing. Like it's okay for people in relationships to like pursue their own passions and interests
Mhm.
that make them feel really good and whole and healthy. And
And that
yeah,
mommy's a person and not just,
yes,
this slave that like,
right.
lives just to serve our children or, like
Yeah.
after them and stuff. Yeah. And that is actually a hard part too. It's like my oldest, especially, he's every time I'm like, okay, mommy's going to go now. He's like, why do you have to go to yoga every day? He calls it yoga too. Cause it's like, why do you have to go every day? I'm like, I do not go every day, and the fact that he reacts that way shows that I don't do it like constantly. You know what I mean? So, um, I think it's good for them to understand that I have to do something. Yeah. Like you said, like that we have something that we have to do apart from them, and it's
Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I think it's healthy. Of
Hmm.
course, I think that because that's how I've lived my life. My very biased opinion. No, but I do. Did you find pulling while you were pregnant to be like, well, I don't know what my actual question is. Maybe just tell me a little because I did not pull when I was pregnant. My good friend Grace, who she pulled while she was
Oh
pregnant
my gosh,
after seeing
she's
you do
amazing.
it. And she did the
Incredible.
same thing as you. She went right back. And it
Hmm.
was like she didn't skip a beat. She just like got right back into it. I was like, oh
Yeah.
my God, you're amazing. Um, so I'm just curious to know like what the experience was like. And you did it multiple times. So I'm assuming it was very positive for you. And you
Yeah.
mentioned a little bit about it the first time, but I think it's maybe interesting to some moms or moms to be out there who are wondering, is it
Hmm.
safe? Is it healthy? Is it good? Like, what effect does it have on the baby, if any? Like, what
Right. I mean,
challenges did you have?
I always ask my doctor, beforehand, like, is it okay? Is this, as I was pregnant, as I was getting more and more pregnant, I kept every time I had a visit with my doctor, I'm like, I'm still doing this, that's fine. And she's like, yeah, 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 it's fine as long as you know what your body's capable of. And
Uh-huh.
she trusted me because I told her that I'd been doing it already for like 2 years. So
Hmm.
that part was not a problem. For me, I think remaining consistent, which is more of a mental battle at that point, you know,
Yeah.
was the most important thing because I was pulling up until my due date past my pregnancy, that coming back my body was still, I hadn't lost that much time. Like 6 weeks is a long time, but also it's like it's really not that long.
Hmm.
But also, I know everybody's pregnancies are different, so
Yeah.
I never had really any morning sickness. Um, I had like food aversions, but that was like the extent. So again, I'm very fortunate in that sense. Like I had pretty easy, I would say easy pregnancies.
Okay.
Um, and, maybe I can attribute that to my genes, or I can attribute it to be also being active the whole time,
Yeah.
or both or whatever. But my postpartum situations were like progressively harder with each one. Like I had like mastitis in both boobs, and
Oh, mhm.
pretty severe with my last one and all that stuff. But yeah, so I mean, for in terms of like anybody thinking about pulling when they're pregnant, I never recommend people starting any activity that's
Right.
new while they're pregnant, but just knowing what your body's capable of, number one, and number two, just consistency, remaining consistent. Because when you take that long break, then it's easier to take the next break. And then and then it just gets longer and longer. So for me, continuing to teach while I was pregnant was very important because that made me accountable. I had
Yeah.
to be there for my students, so I had to be there for my practices, and so that really helped me like a ton. Um,
Awesome.
Going back to how pole feels makes you feel in your body. So yeah, not only postpartum, not only while I'm pregnant, how did pole make me feel comfortable in my body, but you know, when I was younger, like a lot of women, I'm sure, I had body image issues.
Mhm.
I suffered a couple eating disorders through college, and I was never big. I would never say I was like a big person, but I had, I guess, some types of body dysmorphia,
Mm.
especially towards the end of high school. You're like, you know, um, and contributing to that, I had started taking orthotricycline in like sophomore year of high school, I think,
Mm.
my
Mhm.
skin. And so from that, I gained like 20 pounds. And so that was, and like going through puberty and gaining 20 pounds, like at the same
Yeah.
time, like in the middle of high school is just like, whatever.
Oh.
Um, so then when I went to college, I was like determined I'm not going to gain that freshman 15 because I was already like bigger than I'd ever been. And I was counterbalancing that by actually erring on the other side. So I actually ended up dropping like 20 pounds my first semester of college because I was
Wow.
basically not eating, and like, you know, um, I got hooked on caffeine pills. I got hooked on laxatives,
Mm. Mhm.
and I fucked my body up
Yeah.
in several other ways. Um, and then even when I did stabilize and I got over that, that was like the early college. So by the end of college, I was mentally a bit healthier, but I still felt uncomfortable. Like I was small. I was, for my height, I was like, relatively thin, but I never wanted to show my arms. I like
Mm.
felt I still, I had that body dysmorphia in my head. And honestly, like pole just cured all of that. It like
Wow.
made me feel so comfortable in my body, and I always make jokes that like when you see a first time polar, you can tell because they're like wearing the most clothes. They have like
Yeah.
joggers on, or like, or even like sweatpants and like, a t-shirt. And I was the same way. And then like gradually your clothes get smaller and smaller and smaller. And it's
Yeah.
not that, like in fact I was getting bigger because I was building muscle, but like my confidence was getting bigger too. And so my clothes
Yeah.
got smaller as my confidence. So yeah, I mean, yeah, it sounds like evangelizing again, but like, yeah, it's like it made my body, but also it cured my whole body image, like issues that I've had. And I really try to instill that in anybody who comes through the doors of my classes too, that like, I want you to feel comfortable in your body. Some people are like, oh, am I too big to pull, or like, this and that. And it's like, no, like we will find movements and poses that are for you, and like
Yeah.
there are poses that you can do that someone smaller probably can't do, and vice versa. It's like, and I just try to like cater it for each person individual. Like in my head, I have like a Rolodex of like poses, and I'm like, okay, what is this person's body, going to be good for? Like, how is it going to work in their body, and like, how can I change this pose so that like it works for them? And so that's where, I mean, I've always been an artistic person. I went to art school, and like pole has been a way to use that creativity in another way, because it kind of like I stopped making art. So this is my
Mm.
too.
This is art.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you for sharing all of that. I think, yeah, that was really great context for everything else that you've said. And I do think it's true. It's interesting. Yeah, we wear tiny clothes or barely any clothes, and we're doing like insane shapes with our, contorting our bodies in all ways. That doesn't necessarily make that are not necessarily flattering, right?
Right.
Clothes are
Exactly.
not, but you
Yeah.
don't think about it when you're doing it and you're
Hmm.
practicing and you're training, you're just doing it. And I think that is where that comfort in the body comes from, because we're more focused on the capability of our body
Right.
instead of the aesthetics of our body. And
Right.
then once you get to a certain level, aesthetically, you're thinking more about lines and
Hmm.
like how your alignment is and the lines of the shapes you're making, more so than like, do I have cellulite there, or like, is my
Exactly.
tummy popping out?
Hmm.
So yeah, it does, it is like a very big mind shift
Hmm.
that happens without you even realizing it. It's just like
Right. I
one
think
day you realize you're in a class wearing like no clothes with
right.
6 other people wearing
Yeah,
no
and she was
clothes.
totally comfortable. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
I think also building strength like helps the body image too. It's like realizing that like I was getting strong and I was like, holy crap, like I never in my wildest dreams would have thought my body could do this. Like,
yeah,
you know, that in itself just like makes everything else kind of fall by the wayside. You know what I mean? It's like I have like a little booty. I can't twerk it, but I can hang upside down. You know what I mean? So it's just like
yes,
all of these
yep,
things. So.
yeah, I love it. Something else you said I was going to ask about too now. What was it? Body image, body size, confidence. No, I can't remember. Well, anyway, I really appreciate you sharing that story. I think a
No.
lot of women can relate to that. And I think we do go through um, body dysmorphia too, as we go through like times in our lives where our body changes, like puberty. And then now for me, like perimenopause and menopause, it's like a few years ago, I was like, what is happening to my body? I was gaining weight, like proportionately, I was different than I was like 6 months before. And I was like, what on earth is happening? And then, I realized it was the extreme hormone changes that happen in your late 40s, right? I was like, whoa, okay. Then you have to learn how to get comfortable with this new version of your body. And
Right.
then the reality is our bodies are always, always changing and
Mhm.
morphing. And
Mhm.
like you were saying about consistency during pregnancy, if you're being consistent, your body is going to react in some way. Like you're going to maintain things like strength and flexibility, even if the way it looks on your body changes.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
so that kind of helps the continuity of that relationship with our own bodies and our acceptance, is
Mhm.
that consistency and just knowing that it's normal to change and fluctuate as we go through life as women.
Right.
Pregnancy, puberty, perimenopause, all these hormones
Mhm.
affect us all the time. So it's like
Yeah.
even throughout the month,
Oh my god, I know. Don't even tell me.
right? Like just a monthly cycle, your body looks different from week to week. It's like, what?
Yeah. No, I'm just getting off my period, so I and I still do have moments where you're self-critical. Like I was looking
Absolutely.
at my last post for my last combo, and I was like, I compared it to the one 2 weeks before, and I was like, oh my gosh, my belly is like so much, and then I'm just like, just shut up, Susan. Just
Yeah.
it's and you just have to see your body for what it's capable of rather than like what the exact shape is or what little lump or roll you might have. It's just like freaking carrots. It's like
Yes.
I have a healthy body that is able to do these things, and that's just amazing in itself. Like to do the splits hanging upside down, like 20-year-old me could never dream.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah. And it's cool that to be able to do these things later in life, like
Hmm.
like you're saying, that never would have occurred to us in our 20s that we would even try, let alone be able to do or teach.
Exactly. I mean, I'm 44 and I am literally the strongest in like my body than I've ever been in my whole life. So
Yeah.
thank you, Paul. I love, yeah, that's what I love the most about it is just like feeling strong. Yeah, just like getting stronger every day.
Yeah. Keep
Yeah.
doing it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm going to cut us off there on that because you are strong. You guys, I'm going to put Susan's Instagram handle in the show notes. So go check her out. Every week she posts the combo that she teaches, right? Every week you do. Yeah, the spin combo. She's super strong. So, and also pretty bendy, I will add. You're
That's another
pretty
dysmorphia
bendy.
thing. I always say I'm not flexible, and again, it's like that's just like a hanging on from my past
And then
because I
you're doing a
never.
bird of paradise.
Yeah, and I can do the splits now, and my brain is still like, "You can do the splits?" Like, I can't believe it, and that's just like, yeah, it's still a new thing to me, so that's
Yeah,
why.
it's conditioning. Like we've been conditioned by ourselves and how other people see us for so many decades that it's like when things start to change, it takes time to accept. I think
Mhm, for
we're
sure.
mean to ourselves,
I know.
not intentionally. But thank you for being here. I will put Susan's Instagram in the show notes. Like I said, follow her. If you guys have questions, you can leave them in the comments. You can DM Susan or me. Happy to always reply. If you are interested in pole, if you're a mom to be, or whatever, like we just encourage you to give yourself some grace and some space to
Mhm,
actually just reconnect with yourself and, you know, just be the person you are outside of mommy for a few minutes a day,
definitely.
right? At least.
For
Thank
sure.
you, Susan. I love you. I'm so happy that you were here.
Thank you, that was fun.
Until next time. Bye. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Fit, Fierce, and Fearless, powered by GenX Pole Arts. I hope you feel inspired by the incredible stories of strength and resilience that we shared today. Remember, it's never too late to embrace your potential and unleash your passion. If you enjoyed this episode, please, I would appreciate it if you would take a moment to subscribe, rate, and leave me a review. Your support really helps me to continue to uplift and empower women over 40 in our pole dance community and beyond. Don't forget to connect with me on social media for more inspiration and updates. I'd love to hear your stories and share in your journey. So until next time, keep dancing, keep shining, and remember that your strength knows no age.